Hello, thanks for joining us on the news. I'm Ruth Aguele. My sign language interpreter is Franklin F.A. We'll bring you the headlines now. President Bola Tinubu signs 2023 supplementary budget of more than 2.1 trillion naira into law. High Court of the FCT grants bail to former governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. An experts advocate amendment of Cybercrimes Prohibition Act 2015 to incorporate new realities like artificial intelligence. President Bola Tinubu has signed the 2023 supplementary budget of more than 2.1 trillion naira into law. The signing at the State House was witnessed by principal officers of the National Assembly, led by Senate President Godswill Akpabio, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, and the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, among others. A supplementary appropriation bill was last week submitted to the National Assembly, and the National Legislature approved the sum of 2.17 trillion naira. The supplementary budget is to, among other things, take care of military expenditure, make up of the conditional cash transfer, and 3 months wage award the federal government promised its workers. There is indication that the national headcount suspended earlier this year may soon hold, as President Bola Tinubu has expressed total support for the conduct of the national census. President Tinubu made the pronouncement as he launched the National Geospatial Data Respiratory, Electronic Civil Registration and Vital Statistics System and its Coordination Committee at the State House Conference Center. We'll bring you full details in subsequent bulletin. President Bola Tinubu is set to depart Abuja for Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on Thursday to attend the Saudi Africa Summit, which is scheduled to take place in Riyadh on November 10, 2023. At the Saudi Africa Summit, the president will underscore Nigeria's commitment to attracting more foreign direct investment and expanding business partnerships, which are strongly reinforced by his administration's ongoing domestic economic reforms. Discussions at the first Saudi Africa Summit will revolve around supporting joint action, enhancing political coordination, addressing regional security threats, facilitating economic transformation through research and the local development of new energy solutions, while bolstering cross-sectoral investment cooperation. President Tinubu will return to Abuja after the Saudi Africa Summit. The High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, has granted bail to the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. The presiding judge, Olukayode Adegbola Adeniyi, gave the order this Wednesday in a ruling on the bail application argued by Matthew Barker, SAN. Justice Adeniyi held that it is in the best interest of the justice and fair play, especially the provision of Section 35 of Nigeria's Constitution, to follow the rule of law. The federal government, the Attorney General of the Federation, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, opposed the bail application. Justice Adeniyi, who granted the bail, hinged his decision on the fact that Emefiele has stayed in government custody beyond the time stipulated by law. The court also predicted his decision on the fact that the federal government had completed investigation into the allegations against the former CBN chief and had even prepared the charge against him as far as August this year. Emefiele is to deposit his traveling passport with the registrar of the court pending his formal arraignment on the 15th of November 2023. The Nigerian Army is encouraging military commanders to deploy artificial intelligence in the conduct of operations. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that this was a highlight at a training session on managing diversity and artificial intelligence at the Nigerian Army Resource Center, Abuja.
The development of artificial intelligence has opened a variety of potentials for security and defense purposes. as this can be deployed in logistic support, simulation, target recognition and threat monitoring. Artificial intelligence for military purpose is a force multiplier. However, experts have concerns about its safety and security.
We also want to allay fear of particularly the commanders as to the negativity of artificial intelligence. Look at the positive side. How can you utilize it? We are already using it. People are just afraid. So let us put the fear behind us.
The most important thing, first of all, is to acknowledge and understand the various ramifications of artificial intelligence. Until we do that, we will not be in a position to actually able to gather all the things that we need to gather from it.
The center is therefore seeking attitudinal change in military officers to encourage effective deployment of the technology. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Similarly, exploiting emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence in communication information systems for an agile and resilient Nigerian Air Force is a theme of a conference aimed at effectively meeting national security imperatives. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, who declared the conference open, gave assurance of CIS-centered policies to sustain efforts at meeting the security demands of the country. Defense correspondent Najatu Tijani reports.
Government employs many methods and strategies to ensure national security, but a vital component which gives government informed choices is communication, which can also make or mar any strategy employed by government. The Nigerian Air Force is ensuring that commanders make informed decisions to achieve mission success by implementing an advanced system of communication in line with emerging global trends.
Our ability to churn out ideas to harness the power of technology will determine our success in ensuring the highest levels of operational effectiveness and efficiency. Similarly, a deep focus on artificial intelligence can revolutionize how we process data, analyze information, and make informed decisions in real time.
Beyond equipping CIS commanders with emerging technological know-how, the Nigerian Air Force is also working on improving the current system.
I believe this conference will generate a lot of meaningful and insightful discussions that will assist communication information system officers in the effective execution of their duties, as well as contributing to the development of the branch.
Nigerian Air Force CIS practitioners from various units and commands, as well as other stakeholders from within and outside the service, are currently attending a conference. Najatu Tijani, NTA News.
Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has reiterated federal government's commitment to the timely establishment of a UNESCO Category 2 Institute for Media and Information Literacy in Nigeria. The minister stated this during a bilateral meeting with the UNESCO Assistant Director General for Communication and Information, Dr. Taufik Jelassi, on the sidelines of UNESCO's 42nd General Conference in Paris, France. The minister expressed his determination to ensure that Nigeria benefits from all existing opportunities in the UNESCO communications and information sector, including the development of community radio, which is one of UNESCO's ongoing priorities. Nigeria's pledge to establish and host the institute emerged from the 2022 UNESCO Global Media and Information Literacy Week hosted by Nigeria in October 2022 in Abuja, and was endorsed by a resolution of the 216th session of the UNESCO Executive Board in May 2023. Also present at the bilateral meeting, which held at the UNESCO headquarters, was Nigeria's Ambassador Permanent Representative to UNESCO, Dr. Hajo Sani. Women we hear are playing an increasingly high-profile role in bringing peace and security to Somalia. To this end, a UN-supported meeting called Global Open Day on Women, Peace and Security was held in Mogadishu. Kolo Mohammed will tell us about it.
Katrina Lang, the UN Secretary General's Special Representative for Somalia, who was also one of the participants, alongside Somalia's Deputy Prime Minister Salah Ahmed Jama, Federal Minister for Women and Human Rights Development Khadija Mohamed Dirie, federal parliamentarians, civil society, and the wider United Nations family spoke about the successes and challenges Somali women face in political participation.
In terms of theory to practice, our theme, there was sadly a slight decline in the number of women parliamentarians from 24% we achieved in 2016 to 21%. But on the good news side, for the first time in history, we have the first Deputy Speaker of the House of the People is a woman.
Leng, who is also the head of UN Assistance Mission in Somalia, applauded the federal government of Somalia for adopting a national action plan towards implementing the UN Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security, which is essential in addressing barriers to women's participation in politics. On behalf of the federal government, Somalia's Deputy Prime Minister, Salah Mohammed Jama, emphasized women's vital role in the peace-building process.
50% of Somalia's population is made up of women, and there is no way you can ignore that fact. They are equally competent as men. They are educated with vast experience to contribute to state-building efforts of Somalia.
Participants identified 3 main areas for increased women's participation in the near future: constitutional review process, National Consultative Council, NCC proceedings, and women in conflict resolution. The UN Special Representative appealed that the ongoing constitutional review be used to advocate for the enactment of 30% women's quota, which should be enshrined in law. Leng said it is great to have the commitment, but without a legally binding commitment, from experience in other countries, it is really hard to make progress. The Federal Minister for Women and Human Rights Development, Khadija Mohammed Dirie, spoke on the importance of including women in the National Consultative Council, NCC, which is a key decision-making body, and bringing together leaders from the federal government as well as federal member states. Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
Chinese Defense Minister is in Moscow. The visit, the two countries say, is part of a show of support to the Kremlin. Here is Kolo Mohammed again.
Chinese Defense Minister Li Shangfu arrived in Moscow on a 6-day trip, during which he will deliver an address at the Moscow Conference on International Security and meet different leaders from Russia and other nations. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is due to speak at the conference on the topic of the majority world countries' search for ways to develop outside Western mechanisms, including strengthening multilateral associations of a new type. Representatives from about 100 countries and 8 international organizations have been invited. Deliberations will dwell on various aspects of security, conditions of establishing a multipolar world order, restoring constructive international cooperation in the context of aggressive claims by Euro-Atlantic allies for world domination. China's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said Chinese and Russian leaders have maintained strategic communication in different ways on various issues. The two sides had orderly high-level exchanges of views in extensive topics, including bilateral cooperation and issues of joint concern. Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
All right, let's take a break now.
We are going through the brunt of the fuel subsidy. I know the pressure and the demand and lamentation, but you understand it much better. You are the one who understands the labor pain. That is only after
experts at the Cyber Crimes Awareness Campaign organized by the Federal Ministry of Justice also say that more introspection by social media users would help them avoid the pitfalls associated with cyber criminals hacking their data.
It is notorious that the breach of cybersecurity in an organization is followed by major threats to the data privacy and daily operations of the organization.
They hope to leverage on the link between technology and the law to put in place more encompassing regulations that would guide the practice and use of the cyberspace. Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
The Court-Martial FRSC Dauda Alibiu has directed operatives of the court drafted to cover the elections to ensure effective collaboration with the Nigeria Police Force, the Independent National Electoral Commission, and other security agencies in the enforcement of restrictions on vehicular movement. In the directives issued in Abuja, the court operatives drafted to cover the elections have equally been mandated to clear obstructions from the roads, carry out rescue operations in case of emergencies, and maintain orderliness in polling booths. Good deeds, they say, are like seeds planted. They grow to be reaped as fruits someday. Now, this describes Uzoma Ofo's situation, whose limbs had to be amputated as a result of chronic diabetes. Today, he walks again as a result of 2 artificial limbs donated to him by one of his father's kinsmen, who believes the gesture was born out of Ofo's father's good works to his community decades ago. Charles Alpha has that story for us.
Uzoma Ofo is a 55-year-old man who hails from Umuisin in Idiato north of Imo State. He is married to Alice, and together they have 3 male children. He was a 6-foot, vibrant and hard-working man, but his height was plagued by diabetes. In 2015, one of his limbs was amputated, and only last year, Mr. Fo's second limb again had to be amputated as the disease ate deep. But in his situation, he still tries to make ends meet for his wife and children.
We thank God for everything.
With every passage of time and day, hope for survival grew bleak. Funds raised for this cause expended, but in the midst of despair came hope. Mr. Chukuma Machuku Ume, a senior advocate of Nigeria from Imo State, is well aware of the travail of Uzoma Ofo. One good turn, they say, deserves another. The good deeds of Ofo's father to the people of Aguele when he was a toddler continue to linger in the memory of Chukuma Machuku Ume SAN. And this made him to take over the case of Ofo. And today, 2 artificial limbs were presented to him to restore his height as a 6-foot-tall man.
You can see the man is a 6-footer. I've tried his best in my life. They have opened a poultry. He gave me money the other time to treat this leg before they cut it. After God continue to guide his family for this good work he's doing. And diabetes is not the end of the life.
I feel good for what God have done, because when this thing started, I thought that we couldn't make it.
What we have done today is try to be a person in the hand of God to see if his future will be brighter. That's the worth of a life. That the next person is also feeling that sense of belonging, of being alive.
Uzoma Ofo, like a child learning to crawl, is learning to walk again with these artificial limbs. For Chukuma Machuku Ume, leaders must learn to give to people that voted them into power. For a time comes when their works, whether good or bad, will be returned in good measure. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
And there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Let's find out how tomorrow's weather will fare. That's the news. Thank you very much for your time. Do have a beautiful evening. I'm Ruth Aguele. My sign language interpreter is Franklin F.A. Bye.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide the company you desire.